Hey everyone, my name is Katie Robertson. I'm the founder and director for the Anchor Gathering, and this is the Anchor Moment, and I want to tell you a little bit about what that is. It's a time we get to hear from a guest a little bit about their life, their faith journey, and an anchor moment. And that is a time that someone has had their faith grounded and they've seen Jesus for real in their life. So we are so excited at this time you get to hear firsthand a personal story from one of our guests, and we hope that you'll be encouraged.
Hi, my name's Karen. I grew up as a California girl, although I was born in New Jersey. We only stayed there 3 months, so most of my growing up years were spent in the Bay Area. I lived a pretty idyllic life. Menlo Park Presbyterian Church and the choirs and the youth groups and different things. I loved growing up there in the sunshine and with my family and friends. And I would have gone back there after grad school in Boston, but I came to Seattle to do student teaching and met my future husband at a church retreat for young adults. So the rest is history. I stayed in Seattle, and this is where we've made our home. I've been married to Mark now for almost 37 years. We've raised our kids. Mackenzie is our eldest, Allie and Jeffrey. Jeffrey's the baby and just graduated from college. It's exciting to all of us, of course, in a PR and advertising program. And he's also a musician, so you can go back to February of 2021 and see what he did singing for the Anchor, which is a lot of fun.
You're rewriting my story, and I'm brand new like a morning.
So that's Jeffrey. Our middle is Allie. She's back in Seattle after working and living in New York City and London for 5 years. It's great having her nearby because she's a real encourager to me in hosting the Anchor. And then Mackenzie, our eldest, and her husband Nick got married twice during COVID, to each other both times. And they're now expecting our very first grandbaby, a little boy, this summer. So that'll be a new stage of life for all of us. Professionally, I'm an early childhood education specialist. I ran a program for many, many years and have enjoyed hosting gatherings, doing charity work, and being in my garden where I raise chickens. And I'm also a beekeeper, which is a lot of fun. I had some hats to share. I'm an anchor leader. I also am a farmer with chickens, and this morning the girls made some beautiful eggs for all of us to see for a little show and tell. That's such an early childhood preschool thing. And then soon I'm going to be wearing this new grandma hat, so very excited about those blessings. As I said, I grew up in Menlo Park, California. My mom took me to church faithfully, and we had just the most awesome church community that was really focused on youth. They provided choirs, activities, camps, choir road trips where we'd travel around the country and sing for different churches. It was a pretty idyllic place to go. We took a dynamic musical called Celebrate Life to congregations all over to give the message about Jesus and what a life following him could be about. In the summer of 1973, when I was 13 years old, I made a decision to follow Jesus. I wanted to become a Christian and model my life after the principles that I heard about him saying were really important and what a follower could expect. So this summer, I'll be celebrating 50 years as a follower of Jesus, which has just been such an important influence in my life. If you haven't seen the movie Jesus Revolution, I highly recommend it. It's about that era and how many people were coming to the Lord. Fast forward, this is the 7th season that my Anchor co-mate, Deb, and I have hosted the Anchor Gathering in Shoreline, north of Seattle. She's from Edmonds. I live in Richmond Beach, and we made a commitment to reach out to women of our neighborhood to gather people and enjoy community. We found that people are hungry for just getting together and being encouraged in the Lord. So it's been a very natural thing to host gatherings, and the women that we've come to know and that have showed up and brought friends have been very, very blessed by the programs that the Anchor has to offer. Even when the pandemic broke out, we still managed to persevere and break through. Thankfully, my kids, who are tech savvy, had come home, and we were the first Anchor chapter to go live on Zoom for all our people to join in. And boy, did we need that encouragement at that time. So we were very, very grateful to be able to do that. The kids even did the music. As for hosting the Anchor gathering, it's been a real joy, but it's not been without its challenges. I remember one time when I was about to host for the evening, I had just the most intense panic attack and ended up canceling. It was at that point that I gathered a team around Deb and some others that would pray for us and help to shoulder some of the burden, and realize that this was something that when you're doing something good, there's always going to be an adversary who would like to undermine that. So we moved forward and really seized the verse, Hebrews 6:19, that says, we have this hope, Jesus, as an anchor for our souls, firm and secure. And with that, we march on every month, even when we feel like, oh, I'm too tired, or oh, I'm too discouraged, or I'm not enough to do this. We don't have to be enough, because God always comes through for us. In addition to that special verse from Hebrews 6:19, I'd always like to encourage the ladies gathered that Jesus is our anchor, and we need our friends to help buoy us up through the storms, through the difficult things that are happening. Just as the real anchor is trusted, though unseen, we can trust God as our anchor, though unseen. We talked about how important it is to have this anchor, yes, for the storms, but also in the calm, sheltered harbor, lest we quietly drift away. We sing songs about God being our anchor in the storm. We found trinkets and clothing with anchors on them, nearly to the point of being silly. But we find that these constant reminders that God is our anchor that serve us well in day-to-day life, keep our mind full of hope and confidence and grace and mercy and love that we have in God through Jesus. I didn't anticipate how I myself was going to need to rely on all these anchor truths as we headed into season 6 last year of our Richmond Beach Edmonds Anchor. I didn't realize how much I was going to need to rely on my mateys, my friends, my family, to buoy me up along with the rest of my family as we faced the summer of 22, which we started calling the summer of sadness, disappointment, and grief. My husband and I were standing in the Sagrada Familia Cathedral in Barcelona on June 1st of 2022 when we got the news that his beautiful mother, age 92, had gone on her journey to heaven. She'd battled dementia for a long time, and while we were super sad at losing her, we also just embraced the moment that was so surreal, really, and ethereal of her ascending as we were in such a holy, beautiful place. But it was a huge loss to all of our hearts as our matriarch was gone from earth. Then 72 days later, Mark's little sister, who had Down syndrome, she lived till 55, she went to be with Mom too, and Dad and all the others. And Trishy had a real hotline to heaven, and when she said it was time for her to go, Mark said, okay, if you're ready, you go ahead. And she took a few more breaths and was gone, just like that, headed on her journey. So we lost both of them in the summer, and it was really a tough time. We also lost our beautiful 15-year-old chocolate lab, who had been our beautiful Lucy for so many years of our family. So just like crushing blow after crushing blow, our daughter suffered a miscarriage, our other daughter suffered a breakup. We got the call that Mark's older brother, his only living family member, had died suddenly of a massive heart attack. After losing their mom, their sister, and now this brother, it just was a crashing wave that took us completely, a rogue wave took us completely unawares. But I kept turning to that anchor verse and reminding myself and my family, and our friends would remind us too, that God was there. And indeed, even as I wrote the little thank you notes to people who had reached out in kindness to us, I kept thinking, you know, God is comforting us through this storm. He is providing a way. He is giving us a real tangible sense of His presence, His protection, His provision, His power, His plan, and ultimately His peace. Friends, anchor friends, always tell a story. Always tell what God has done for you, because you never know who is going to need to hear those words of encouragement, those words of truth. This has been my intense following for 50 years. Sometimes more closely than others have I walked with Jesus, but I have found Him to be faithful in all circumstances, through all storms, through all things that I might encounter, and I put my hope in Him.